I want to wrap up the show with just some tips and reminders. We talked about this many times on the show, but we're in an election year. It's like a couple months away.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Did you guys know? Have you guys heard about it? It's a presidential election.
That's weird.
I haven't seen anything. I didn't even know. I turn on the TV and it, and
who's running?
Yeah, I don't even know. It's amazing. It's just, so nonetheless, because we're in an election year, the real estate market sees, and I think economic markets, there's always, some fence sitting. People get concerned, they get scared, they're afraid of what's going to happen depending on who gets elected, and, that can have an impact on a real estate market. I think, historically we've seen election years be down years in real estate. Fortunately, that's not been the case this year. We've been chugging along and doing great, but I still think the next few months, it is going to cause some people fence sitting. It's going to cause some hesitation. It's going to cause some concern.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of seen it. We were just talking in the mortgage applications this week. We get statistics on that, and they fell 4%, which is a pretty significant drop from week to week, generally speaking. Especially when you look that rates are at all-time lows still. We're getting rates in the mid threes, and you're seeing that. So I think that as we get closer and closer, we might see a little bit more of that because it just doesn't make any other.
Right.
Sense as
There's
to
nothing
why
else
that
that's
would
why.
be.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And it makes sense that you have, no matter what, 50% of the population seemingly is very fearful.
And they're going to be unhappy.
And they're going to be unhappy, so
Correct.
they're kind of,
Half
right
the
now on the
population.
fence.
It's pretty close. It's close race. So you got 50% of the people that are going to be happy, and 50% of the people that aren't going to be happy. And I think it's going to cause hesitation. So you guys probably experience the same thing. You got people, I want to wait till after the election. I've heard that a few times. We're going to wait till after the election. I'm like, really, the election isn't going to change much about real estate. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
The candidate in there, not immediately, over long term maybe.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. We've heard that quite often. And the one thing that we know for sure is that, as David just alluded to, interest rates are just, money is insanely cheap right now.
Correct.
And if you were ever thinking about buying a home or getting into something new, it's hard to imagine anything better than it is right now. At the same time, what we were talking about earlier, as a builder, we see all of our costs going up. It is getting more expensive for us to buy dirt. It is getting more expensive for us to buy raw materials that it takes to build a home. And thus, when all those things are going up, the price of the home gets higher. So,
Correct. Why wait?
Why wait?
Yeah.
Interest
And
rates.
when you have a lack of inventory and more buyers looking to buy than not.
It doesn't make sense to wait, but I can understand the polarizing aspect of this election and how it can cause fear in people. I mean, I get it. Emotionally, they kind of withdraw. Anytime there's polarizing news, and we talked about this before, like, the week that the Pulse nightclub, terrorist attack happened, there was like days where our showings were like, we had some of the lowest showing days in the history of our company for the days following that, and it was because people weren't paying attention to the news. They weren't out shopping for homes. It zaps the, buying a home is so emotional. So some of this stuff, because it's so negative in nature, kind of kills people's drive a little bit. They're like, our country's going down the tube, or our country's doing great, and however you look at it, it can kill the motivation. So